Hey guys, Neil here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something slightly different from the normal investing that I talk about. We're going to be talking about the silver market, also touching on gold and the like. We're going to be focusing heavily in this video on the silver market and why I believe silver is about to explode in value. So we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about the ETFs, the futures, shorts, but mainly focusing on the physical market and how you can take advantage of this to actually do really well in what I believe is about to be a very large scale recession, could even be a global recession, and worst case, which I'm not saying is going to happen because I probably don't think it is right now, there could be a complete reset if the financial markets continue to go how they are, especially with the helicopter drop of money, which Milton Friedman talked about, quantitative easing, printing money into infinity. This could all impact what could be a very big global recession or meltdown coming very soon. But in this video, we're going to talk all about physical silver, so let's get into it. So firstly, I don't sell silver or gold, I don't have a mint, I don't sell bullion, I don't have anything like that. So this video is completely objective. I'm not here to influence you in any way. And this analysis is my own personal opinion. It doesn't constitute for you as financial advice. I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing with my finances and my investments. So if you haven't seen my video back from August 2019, before this even started, I'm going to drop a link below so that you can watch that video, because it also talks a lot about what I believe is coming in the metals market, which a lot of it has already started now. People are blaming this on the coronavirus, and yes, the coronavirus is the cause right now, but this would have happened anyway. Coronavirus is really just taking the blame for it. All of this would have happened anyway in the global economy. The problem isn't the virus, the problem is debt. And it always has been. A lot of experts, and you've probably seen these videos, all these experts are talking about the spot price of silver. But the point is, it's completely irrelevant right now because the spot price is only important when you can actually get some physical silver. Right now, you can't get physical silver anywhere, apart from eBay or some of these sort of places. But you try buying physical silver, the main coins, we're talking about Eagles and Maples, Britannias and the like. You try buying these coins from the mint, good luck, because they're completely out of stock. They're out of stock for about 6 weeks, some are saying 8 weeks, but I guarantee you this 6 to 8 weeks is going to become 12 weeks and longer as this gets even worse. So firstly, one thing to point out is that there isn't just the physical market of silver, which many of you will know in coins and bars. You've also got futures and short sellers and ETFs, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund. And an ETF is one thing that I would never do in the silver market. I can't advise you on it, but let me just say I'm not in ETFs. And there's a little indicator here. If there's, X times the amount of silver in ETFs as there is in existence in physical, there's a manipulation somewhere. Someone is manipulating it. And if you even try to get any of your physical silver right now, good luck, because I've seen what's happening. There is a 6-week waiting list. Some of them are 10 weeks to get physical silver. And I can tell you what's going to happen at the end of those 6 to 10 weeks. You're not going to be able to get your silver because all these contracts, a lot of them have been manipulated. These contracts are actually contracts from other contracts. So they're going to be trying to pull in their contracts. There's going to be a lot of administration in terms of bankruptcy and the like, liquidation. So, really good luck if you are in ETFs right now, because I'm going to be focusing this message on physical and my analysis. So in the physical silver market, we just saw a 40% drop in the last week, which is unheard of. This is absolutely absurd. The current price is now $12.59, which is an all-time 10-year low right now. So that should tell you something when we plot this against gold in a second. The current all-time low of the last decade in silver is $12.01 against an all-time high of $48.70. Now, if you look at that and you look at the disparity between it, the $48.70 came during the last recession. So this is what people do when they're dumping stocks and shares. They run to another asset class, and in this case, it's usually metals. Now, usually people will run to gold. When gold gets too expensive, they'll jump to their secondary metal, and in most cases that's silver. And if you look at the gold price right now, the gold price is $1,498. And if you compare that to the silver in terms of the all-time high and all-time low, the all-time low was about $1,050. So already we're 50% over the all-time low from the last 10 years versus an all-time high of gold at $1,896. So if we look at the gold to silver ratio, which is what I always use, I think it's one of the most important equations and ratios there are, the gold to silver ratio right now is sitting at about 120 to 1. This is just unheard of. I mean, typically we might see 85 to 90 to 1, but to see 120 to 1 tells you that silver is massively undervalued right now. And many of you may be wondering, well, what was the reason for that massive 40% drop over the last week? And I can tell you a lot of it was manipulation. A lot of people are pointing the finger at JP Morgan at the moment, and that is definitely worthy of finger pointing. But there's also some other things that you may not know and is also important. Because normally when the stock market drops in value, what happens is the metal price goes up in value. But that didn't happen in the last week. Actually, what happened was the metals went down in value. So many of you may be thinking, well, that's not really ever happened before. What is the explanation for that? And it's quite simply this. A lot of people who are in ETFs had to sell and get cash, like quick cash last week. And that was in order to meet their margin calls on their ETFs and their futures. This is why I say it's a very dangerous game to be in. That's why I like physical. The other reason is that the silver market is responding to the supply and demand ratio. Again, I talk about this a lot in my business videos, if you follow me in the business videos and my property real estate videos. But supply and demand is extremely important. It's one of the most important aspects to this. And if you think that silver is an industrial metal, a lot of people think of it as a bullion and for jewelry and the like, but predominantly about 60% of the usage is it as an industrial metal. Bullion and coins and the like really only account for around 20%. I mean, it goes up and down depending on recessions and boom times, but let's just call it 20%. So what we've just seen is this 60% that is normally used in terms of industry has actually just dried up because you've got to think everything that is manufactured, mainly in the West, is quite complex. All the simple stuff is mainly manufactured in other places like China and the like, where all these parts come in to the West, where in the West we manufacture more complex things. And we need all these tiny little things, all these different parts to make these bigger items, the more complex items. And because we're not getting these items at the moment, there is a slowdown, there's a break in the supply chain. So there isn't a lot of demand right now, the 60% of the entire silver market, from the industrial aspect. So that's what you saw reflected in that 40% drop over the last week. Now, don't despair because you're going to see something else happen. What we're going to see next, and again, this is in correlation to the supply and demand, even though the silver price has dropped dramatically, if you look at the availability of silver, and again, I touched on this at the start, there is simply no silver in the mints. They're all waiting for silver. So although the price has dropped, we've now got a consumer demand on coins and bullion and bars, which can't be met by the main mints. So what this will do is will push up the price of silver in terms of coins and bullion very, very quickly. You're going to see this happen very quickly indeed. We're already seeing gold make the move, and silver will be next to make this move. And if you're not an expert in silver watching this, one really quick and easy thing you can do is just to go onto something like eBay, for example. I know this might sound strange from a financial point of view because eBay is a consumer marketplace. But if you look at the silver demand on eBay right now, typically coins that might be going for, say, in the UK, £20 for a 1 ounce eagle, for example, or a maple. Right now, these coins, these same coins are selling at £30. So that's a 50% increase. And again, that's directly correlated to the supply and demand ratio. But just to add a caveat to all of this, silver may even drop lower than it is right now. Might sound crazy for me to say this, but it is possible. And this is because JP Morgan, yes, I am calling them out, are shorting the market right now. They're causing the herd mentality, which again, I'm not criticizing anyone here. This is just a human nature trait that exists. They're causing this herd mentality to panic and dump. And they are shorting the stock, the price of silver right now, so they can strengthen their own position to make a profit. So this is what they're doing, and it's not good that they have this power, but of course they do. But it's just something for you to be aware of, that silver prices may even drop lower, and I would predict they probably will do. I don't know if we've seen the bottom just yet, but even with the prices right now, I'm still purchasing. Okay, so I wouldn't say try, you know the expressions, try and catch a falling knife. I wouldn't even try and figure out when the bottom of the market is. Personally, I would go into silver now. That is one bit of advice I don't mind giving you. I would buy into silver right now, because even if the price does drop lower, you are still going to make money on silver. You have to. When the price of silver is below the price to mine it, so your finished product is below the price to mine it, you can only make money. All right, the silver is going to go up in value. Even if you have to wait 2 or 3 years, you are going to double or triple your money on silver. But I personally think we're going to see a boom, we're going to see an explosion in the very short term. And I've definitely put myself in a very strong position. And I'll be honest with you, I'm all in right now on silver. Pretty much 90% of all my wealth is in silver right now. And for those people who are saying, and a lot of financial analysts are saying this, which I think is crazy, I don't understand it. A lot of people are saying the world's going to run out of money. No, it's not. I mean, the dollar's really strong right now. Just look at the value of the dollar today. The dollar is really strong. The world is not going to run out of money. But actually, the polar opposite is going to happen. The world is going to have too much money due to QE, which is quantitative easing. The banks don't even need to print money anymore. They're just digitally creating all this money. And these are the central banks, the Fed, the Bank of England, all these mainstream central banks. And people are saying, oh, they're so kind, they're so generous. Bailing out the government and doing loans to the government. No, the Bank of England, the Fed, these are private institutions, ladies and gentlemen. You need to get this into your heads here. They are private institutions. They will lend money at an interest rate, okay? This is like the perfect business to be in. Who better to lend money to than a government? It's the most secure investment you can ever make. So as the money supply does get bigger, you're going to see more people running towards gold. You're going to see $2,000, $3,000 gold. I'm confident of that. And if we ever do see, say, a global reset, and you do the math on this, which I have, again, I'll drop the links below, you really need to go to $10,000 an ounce gold in order to meet the monetary supply of money that's out there. Gold is definitely going to go up. Silver is going to match gold in terms of the silver to gold ratio. That could be 80 to 1. It could even be 40 to 1. We don't know at this stage. I'm going to give you more information on these videos as and when I get more information. But this is my best analysis as of right now. And also many people are saying, well, these rate cuts were a great idea. Some people are saying these rate cuts are a terrible idea. It doesn't make any difference. Like, the rate cuts added fuel to the fire, 100%. And were they the right thing to do? Probably not. They probably came a little bit too soon in order to try and preempt the panic. But the bottom line is they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. So there really wasn't an easy solution to the rate cuts. But now the central banks have completely run out of ammunition. If you look at the Fed, you look at the Bank of England, they're both at 0.1% interest rates. This is terrible because there's nowhere to go from here. And really all they have is QE. A lot of people are saying, well, it's so nice that they're offering to pay for the wages and pay for salaries and give money to businesses. But just remember, there's no such thing as a free lunch. This money has to come from somewhere, and it's going to be probably quantitative easing. This all has to be paid back eventually, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember that. So this is why I believe silver is your safe haven right now. Again, long term, we might even see amalgamation of the mining corporations, especially the silver mining corporations. And this will also help to drive up prices of silver. But the main issue we have right now is the collapse in supply chains. And lastly, I've seen a lot of people talking about Bitcoin as a safe haven. Let me tell you, please, Bitcoin is not a safe haven. If it was a safe haven, it would have gone up when the stock market went down. It hasn't. Bitcoin has dropped as well. Bitcoin is not a safe haven. Bitcoin is a digital currency. A safe haven has and always will be gold. Always. Second to that is silver, again. But Bitcoin is not a safe haven. I know all of you Bitcoin junkies are going to blast me. Please drop your comments below if you think I'm wrong. I'd love to know why you think I'm wrong, because all my data and analysis points to Bitcoin not being a safe haven in these times of recessionary measures. And I do believe that we are going into a recession. We're probably going to hit that on the 1st of July 2020 when we hit the first day of Q3. It's probably going to be announced way before then, but that's probably when we're officially going to go into recession, not just in the UK and the USA, but in most European countries. We may even see a global recession, as I've mentioned. And really the only way you can protect yourself against this is metals. I'm very heavy in property and real estate, and even that I forecast that we are going to see a reduction. I've been predicting this since 2 years ago in 2018. Again, go and look at my videos. I'm not just making this up and posting videos now pretending they're from 2 years ago. No, look at the date stamp. They're posted 2 years ago. I predicted a lot of this coming to fruition today in 2020. And finally, what do I believe we can see silver going to? Well, right now we really don't know. Silver prices could go to the moon. We have no idea. But if we saw $50 an ounce silver in the financial crisis, the 2008, 2012 financial crisis, we're definitely going to see $50 silver in this crisis. I can assure you of that, if this crisis continues to get worse. But really, with silver and with the financial crisis we're seeing right now, the sky's the limit. We've never experienced anything like this. Even if we can reference the 1918 Spanish flu, still we can't even comprehend the scale right now because of what's happening with the economy and how every economy is pretty much linked to the US dollar. So there is a lot of uncertainty in the market right now, but I'm going to continue to post videos for you in the coming weeks to keep you up to date, to help you with your financial security. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel, where I'm going to teach you, just like all my other subscribers and all my students, how to make wealth for yourself whilst living the best life you can possibly live. I've been Neil McCoy-Ward, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.